Well, anyone who has been to New York or really any major city has likely run into a street prophet preaching about the end of days. Such displays have long been a curiosity for passersby who likely never give the book of Revelation a second thought. But today, in our world of information managed by the far left, the ranting about the end of the world has gone mainstream. It's done on television, on college campuses, in Congress, on social media. Everywhere you turn, climate change hysteria has been embedded into the psyche of the nation, and it's making people sick. For the sake of driving fear and panic about impending planetary doom, the left is adding to the mental health crisis in America. Something called climate anxiety disorder is a growing area of psychology affecting mostly young people, unfortunately, according to The Lancet, the respected medical journal. More and more people are being treated for the illness whose symptoms include irrational panic attacks, loss of appetite, fear, irritability, hopelessness, weakness, and insomnia. Now, of course, to the left, we're all victims, but now our very existence is imperiled unless we fundamentally change our economy and our way of life. This scheme should sound familiar to you. Of course, after all, America is systemically racist, so we must fundamentally change the way that we teach our children, the way that we govern, the way that we vote, the way that we police our streets. America is supposedly under constant threat from COVID-19, so we must fundamentally change the way that we live, work, and manage our health care. America is discriminatory, so we must fundamentally change the way that we think about gender and language. The list goes on and on, but climate change panic is the progenitor of all of these concepts. All of these leftist marketing schemes damage people emotionally and spiritually. All of them are based on deliberate mischaracterizations of history, facts, and science. Look, only the arrogance of the far left would suggest that the world's survival will depend on some international accord or congressional legislation or whether or not you drive an SUV. They're making young people sick and stoking fear while, of course, conveniently ignoring big tech's massive carbon footprint for smartphones, the cloud, EVs, even Bitcoin. The bombardment of inaccurate and outrageous information is so constant and it is so voluminous, many Americans have lost any ability to discern fact from folly. And that failure to think critically about the left's claims is again proving dangerous with this climate anxiety disorder. For 50 years, there have been a cavalcade of scientists who have been out there making dire claims about the impact of, well, first it was global cooling, then global warming, and now climate change. And the claims have ranged from the ridiculous to the sublime, whether it's Al Gore or some so-called climate scientist or AOC. By now, there should either be no snow or blizzards, palm trees in Central Park, or such frigid weather will migrate to Antarctica for relief. There will either be endless storms or permanent drought. Well, one after another, the predictions of doom have fallen flat. Here are the scientific facts that are widely accepted about the state of our natural environment. The climate changes. It always has. Humanity and industrialization can have an impact on the natural environment, including the climate, but that impact has yet to be quantified. The environment in the United States is cleaner today than it was 100 years ago. Starting in the 1970s with the Clean Air and Clean Water Acts, sensible government regulations and new technologies have reduced waste and emissions. Since the year 2000, the United States has reduced its emissions far more than Europe, despite not participating in the Kyoto Protocol or other draconian environmental accords. The other truth, which the left ignores to whip people into a climate frenzy, is that our environment is also global. Without China, India, Russia, Africa, and the rest of the developing world on board with even basic efforts, little we do here in the United States is truly going to impact the planet or the climate. Climate anxiety disorder among Americans is completely senseless, and it's tragic. Despite this, psychologists are now telling patients that, just like gender dysphoria, having debilitating anxiety over climate change is somehow normal. It's okay. Folks, the biggest environmental problems we have are not related to how we treat the planet in this country. They are related to how we treat each other. They are related to the degradation of human society driven by government and far-left ideologies that corrode the soul. We should celebrate the work that we have done to protect the planet and continue it sensibly. It is a biblical imperative that we do so, after all. But we also must recognize that nature is more powerful a force than we are. The thing that will truly doom humanity is the societal rot that we see on our streets and we celebrate in our media. We should be sickened by that. As for the planet will go on. Happy Earth Day.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.